Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. This is it.
This is Top Flight Time Machine. I am Andy Hotbody Dawson. Pow, pow, pow.
I am Sam Nifty Delaney. So what?
Welcome along. It's the Friday morning episode. If you're an IFS subscriber, you get it on Thursday evening. What could be nicer? Again, apologies for me state of my voice. I'm still a little bit ill. Day 9 of this cursed affliction. It's a virus thing that I've got, and perhaps this is life now, Sam.
Right, you're just going to live with it forever.
Possibly, yeah. I might be able to get a blue badge. Don't know.
Yeah.
I'll look into that.
It could be worse. You could have rabies. Think of it that way.
Maybe I have. Maybe we'll get to the stage where the foaming will begin as the next.
There'd have been foam.
Symptom.
There'd been evidence of foam by now.
Well, I haven't had.
Call 111. Call 111. And yeah, listen. Sorry to bother you, but I'm pretty certain I got rabies. I'll talk you through my symptoms. I've got pretty much every symptom other than the foam, and I know is the foam a deal breaker?
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Of course it is. I'm putting the phone down now. Next question.
What day are you on? Day 9. You're not even foaming yet, and it's day 9. Of course, it's not fucking rabies.
You got fucking rabies.
Nah. Well, I've only had like congestion in the last 3 days. That didn't come around till day 7.
Business, isn't it?
So I'm a bit sniffly now as well. It is what it is. Like I said on Monday, I think it was Monday, I got into Slow Horses, the Gary Oldman spy drama on Apple TV, and I've rattled through 2 entire series of that this week.
Oh, that's good. Ill.
It's incredible. You got to watch it.
It's good when you're ill to get something like that on the go. It almost makes being ill worthwhile.
It kind of is. Yes.
Mind you, if you had rabies, it would be really hard to binge something, because remember when we did the deep dive into rabies? Was that last year now? And we
start of this year, wasn't it?
Right, start of this year, and we watched quite a lot of rabies information films, and the sufferers were almost always in a state of frenzy, or at least like high anxiety. And it just didn't feel like it was the right vibe to just think, right, I'm going to go on Netflix and I'm going to binge 2 series of high quality drama.
Yeah, you can't watch anything with like kind of plot intricacies.
No, you wouldn't be able to focus. You're too busy being
frenzied
you wouldn't be able to focus your foaming and frenzies. They should have a section on Netflix for rabies sufferers.
For people with rabid.
They should break it down into illnesses. Because when I had COVID, I got some great watching done back in the spring. Beef, that was great one thing I watched. I can't remember what else. I binged through a couple of other things. It was great. That's what people don't say about COVID, is that it's awful. I don't wish it upon anyone, but at the same time, you do get some good watching.
Some really good telly watching done.
Same as with whatever mystery virus you've got. But rabies, different. You're going to be wanting to watch more like reruns of the chart show, something very visual.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, what you want for rabies is the foaming, where you can just sit with like a washing up bowl on your lap and just gently foam into it.
Foam straight into it.
While you're watching something like Slow Horses. But like you say, it's all about the frenzying, isn't it? And the frenzying leads to the foaming.
The chart show was a good show, because it was sort of like the easiest show to just sort of consume without much concentration. Because there wasn't even hosts. Show. I mean, in comparison, Top of the Pops was quite complicated in a way, because you had to watch the links and try to follow what, DLT or Simon Bates or Kid Jensen. You had to follow what they were saying. Sometimes their links were convoluted. Sometimes there was a nuanced subtext about the dynamic between them and the girls who were dancing around them. You were trying to work that. It was a lot to fucking get your head around. Whereas the chart show, not even any words. Not even any... Just nothing. It's just like some computer graphics, then another video. Easy peasy. Yeah. Perfect rabies viewing.
Because there's the reading element to it. You have to read the graphics. You could pause it though, couldn't you?
Wouldn't fucking bother.
If you could.
What would it say? It would just go indie chart, dance chart. Other than that, it's just numbers. 10.
No, there used to be information would come on the screen.
Oh yeah, the information.
It used to have that computer screen like what Terminator used to see through his head.
Quiet down, mother. I'm trying to read the information about the pop music.
I'm trying to find out about Big Country's upcoming new album.
I'm trying to find out if they'll be touring anytime soon.
But, yeah, there's that. But I tell you what, Slow Horses has got me thinking about spies and how many spies there are around.
Fucking loads.
That we're not aware of. And it's got us wondering about people I know who I think might be spies.
I've had a theory about someone very close to me being a spy for a long time.
Have you?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, put it this way, right? I know a couple of people who, between the 60s and the 90s, worked in the BBC World Service. BBC World Service was effectively, we now know, a front for British intelligence. The BBC rocked up in every country in the world, including communist ones during the Cold War. I said, no, it's nothing funny. We're just from BBC Radio, and obviously we need to set up a station here. No, don't worry about that. It's nothing to do with politics or out like that. We're going to do some radio plays for the locals, right? And they just set up a bureau, as they called it, in every fucking country going. There was a BBC World Service Bureau, but it was a front. The radio producers were not producers, they were fucking spies. Mind you, think of the fucking radio producers we've known over the years. None of them cunts would be much cop at fucking spying, would they? They could barely fucking produce, let alone spy on any cunt.
Yeah, fucking hell, I could name some useless fuckers.
You'd be in trouble if some of our fucking ex-colleagues were in charge, were the fucking this generation's answer to James fucking Bond, right? Yeah. So I've a few people who work there, and I'm convinced they're spies. But also, a friend of mine, right? I think you know him or you know of him. I'll tell you off air. But his father, let's say, worked in academia. Right. And after his father passed away, he was going through his, what do we call it? His affairs.
Effects.
His effects, that's it, his effects. He was going through his effects. And
he put his affairs in order.
Yeah, that's it. That's where I'm getting muddled, aren't I? He was going through his personal effects, and he found an exchange between him and a Chinese gentleman.
Kim Philby.
He'd met a Chinese gentleman in the park, yeah?
Right.
And the Chinese gentleman had just come up seemingly randomly and got him talking one day, and they'd exchanged details, and they'd continued a discussion, and my friend read through this years of correspondence and is 100% convinced that the Chinese gentleman was trying to recruit his father, an academic of some note. And as we know, you mentioned Kim Philby there, it's often people in academic circles who were recruited, wasn't it? Because it was a hearts and minds situation.
Universities, don't they? They recruit
you get a tap on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Tap.
It happened to me. It happened to me at our price.
Tap.
There was a lot of spy recruitment in HMV as well as our price.
Would you like to join the firm? What firm? What firm you talking about? I've got a good job here at our price.
HMV?
No, not that sort of firm. The firm. Tap and all that, old chap. I'm not sure. I mean, it's pretty good here. The boss lets me take a couple of tea breaks a day, and I've got good prospects.
I'm on 25% discount here, so if you can match that, you can raise that to 30%. We might talk.
Maybe we can sit down and have a chinwag, but I doubt it, to be honest. Sometimes I think they must be making a loss. They're that fucking good. God. Yeah, you can get the tap. But anyway, imagine that. And he's posthumously investigating this his dad the attempts of the Chinese intelligence services to recruit his dad. Amazing, isn't it?
Well, I've got suspicions about someone who I work with.
Me?
Yeah.
What? Because of my dealings with the Russians? Well,
it goes right back to your school trip to Moscow, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, you can piece this together.
That's to me, that's where it began.
Yeah.
Tap on the shoulder during the school trip.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I mean, when you did the now permanently arrested Sam Delaney's news thing, that could have been picked up. I think it was offered to every broadcaster in this country.
Yeah.
And the one that took it up in the end was RT.
Oh, no, I thought you meant it was offered to every broadcast, as in every broadcasting. RT approached every single broadcast professional in the UK and were turned down by everyone until they finally got to Sam Delaney. He was
I don't know.
Yeah, I'll do it.
I don't know what you're saying. All I know is that the show went out on RT. And
I was thinking about this. I was wondering whether or not I was a spy the other day.
Maybe you are, you don't know it.
Another mutual friend of ours.
You're like a deep sleeper.
You know our friend Terry, right? Terry White. Me and you were at that King's Place years ago doing the first ever
podcast festival.
Like Top Flight Time Machine Live. And we were all sat in a green room, and there was some other podcasts there. Do you remember that when my fucking headphones got nicked by another podcaster?
And I tell you what,
I'll fucking find that cunt one of these days, and they'll get fucking filled in. I don't forget, right? So fucking let it be known. And I remember who was in that room.
I don't know who it was.
I got some strong fucking suspicions. One of them used to be one of the hosts of a popular reality baking show. That's all I'm going to say, right? Yeah. So that's one.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. So anyway, Terry walked in. She was doing something there, and she went, "She's not retiring, is she? She's not the sort of retire. No. She's not the shy and retiring type.
No, absolutely not. Northern as well."
She said, "Yeah, she's Northern," and she said, "Fuck me, I knew you were here from fucking outside the building. I could hear you fucking barking on," right? And I went, "Yeah." And she went, "Yeah, I read something in the paper the other day trying to indicate you were a fucking spy for the Russians at one point." She went, "I thought to myself, fuck me, have you ever met the cunt? He'd be the worst fucking spy in the whole world. Fucking clambering around, shouting his head off all over the place, knocking things over." And I think there's your answer. Unless I've been going really method and putting on this act since I was a schoolboy, then I don't think I'd be a natural person to be recruited as a spy.
Thing. It's always the people you least expect or suspect.
Don't forget as well, I worked in Parliament.
The characteristics that you're not expecting of a spy.
I worked in Parliament. About 5 years after my Russian trip, I got a job working in Parliament. I was working with Harriet Harman, Gordon Brown, right, and various other members of the then Shadow Cabinet. So that would have been handy too, wouldn't it?
I don't understand how you're not a spy. It's just so obvious.
Then, let's not forget the CD-ROM magazine enter, right? That was a strange business, wasn't it? You've got to ask yourself, what was going on there?
Well, the company behind that was based in Ireland, weren't they?
How could that have ever got off the ground if it wasn't in some way backed by a sort of a government from a rogue state?
Yeah.
Is Ireland a rogue state? Yeah, I think it might be. And don't forget as well, who was one of the main interviews on issue 1? Jerry Adams.
Jerry Adams. No further questions.
Yeah, I've got to admit, you can join the dots and it does feel as if I could be a spy. I remember when I was... In all honesty, when I was doing that show, the Permanently Arrested Sam Delaney's News thing, you know, for the first couple of years, it was under the radar. No cunt watched it. It was a fucking lot of fun to do. Fine. They didn't give us any trouble. We could do literally whatever the fuck we wanted on this show. Great. But then in the final year of it, Russia, the channel started to come under a lot more scrutiny. And anyone making shows started to come under more scrutiny. And there was sort of people with higher profile than me, not least like Alex Salmon, George Galloway, who were getting a lot of flack, right, for being on it. But I started to feel a bit like, oh man, this is stressful now. It used to be a laugh and just fly under the radar, and we make this daft show with my mates, and whereas now it's like, fucking hell, this is getting like stressful. Everyone's like starting to fucking give you shit, or like you think that they're coming for you next or whatever. And so I started to think, I'm not sure I want to do this anymore. It's really stressful, and we've been doing it almost 3 years. But the thing, the other side of that coin was that because it was my own production company, there was like, you know, there was a fucking significant number of people whose livelihoods relied on it beyond my own. And actually, at the time, I had another job anyway. On the way, I had a couple of other jobs. So for me personally, I could have financially taken the hit at that stage. But I was like, fucking hell, I can't just walk in one day and go, actually, I've decided not to do it anymore because I don't feel comfortable anymore with it politically.
Yeah, exactly.
Bad luck, everyone. You're all out of work.
Best of luck with everything.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a dilemma. It was an ethical dilemma. And in the middle of all this, I was thinking to myself, well, I'm probably overthinking it. Everything will die down. And then one day I was driving home and the news about the Salsbury poisonings broke on the radio, and it was headline news, and it came on, and this is how lost in myself and my own fucking little world I was, right? I walked into the house to see my wife and children, and I barely said hello to the kids, and my wife went, "You all right? You look like you've seen a ghost. What's the matter?" And I was like, "What's the matter? What's the matter? Of course I'm not all right. Haven't you heard the news?" And she was went, "Yeah, and what?" And I went, she went, "What news?" I went, Two Russians have just been poisoned, dead in fucking Salisbury. And she went, and I'm still not working anything out. And I went, and obviously everyone's saying it's the Russians that did it. That's a Russian attack on British land. And who's going to fucking bear the brunt of it? Old Muggins here. And she went, fucking, like, I think she realised then my mental health was like on the edge. And I hadn't realised it. She went to me, listen, I'll never forget the phrase she used. She went, listen, Sam. She went, there are two separate things going on here. She went, one is 2 people have been poisoned, right? Possibly by the Russian state. Yeah. And that's very sad. On the other hand, you have an absurd fucking comedy show that no one watches on Friday night on a channel that is associated with Russia. She went, no one is going to fucking say, right, let's point the finger at Delaney. And she said, this is not Tinker Tailor Soldier Sam. She went, it may be Tinker Tailor Soldier Cunt. And I'll always be grateful to her for that little speech show, because not only because it was very funny, but it was also like, I'm not joking. I think for various reasons at that stage of my life, I was my mental health was, I'd already been sober for a few years, but I was still balmy. They call it start raving sober, right? And I was overdoing it, and I'd lost sight of reality, and I felt that was one of many things that had me under a lot of stress. But I'm not joking. It sounds like it's a joke. When I heard that news, right, I freaked out. Not like, oh, isn't this dangerous, or isn't this scary, or what about the poor cunts who actually have been poisoned? That, you know, that's the main thing here. I was like, fuck,
this impinge on me. Yeah,
fuck, this is gonna fuck. I'm fucked now. And then, shortly after the show ended.
Jalapeño.
Here's a brief but annoying message to let you know that you wouldn't be hearing this brief but annoying message if you were a subscriber to our Iron Filing Society Patreon offering.
For the price of a pint and a St Clement's each month, you can get up to 4 episodes a week, 9 months before the rest of the world gets them. Early access to regular episodes, lots of other marvellous benefits, and there's absolutely no adverts or brief but annoying messages like this that will get right on your tits.
Find out more and subscribe now at tftimemachine.com/ironfilings.
Jalapeño. Jalapeño.
So that's I suppose that's just a little story about one of the many episodes of disproportionate reaction to things in my life, and one of the many mental health episodes I've had. But also, it does also correlate with your theory that I could be a spy.
Well, it's you've just debunked what I've said. I think it's compelling evidence that you in no way could you be a spy, because you just don't have the coolness required to do it.
Definitely not. No.
Well,
I mean, one thing is, I'm quite good at making friends and connections, but I lack subtlety. I lack subtlety, and subtlety is one of the things that a spy requires.
Hello, can I be your friend now?
Fancy a new friendship? I'll be a cracking friend. I've got loads of conversation topics. I'm always up for a nice cup of tea. I've seen loads of films. How many films have you seen? I've seen, let's see, 112, 113 films. Loads of films. So, yeah.
There's just been a story broke this afternoon that the UK are accusing the Russian security service, the FSB, of a sustained cyber hacking campaign here.
Do you know what?
So perhaps they were hacking us.
I
This has
have
gone on
to-
since 2015.
I
Perhaps
have
they were
to
hacking
say,
our phones when we were in RT.
I have to say, if the Russians are doing all this, and the Chinese, it's a message to both of them if they're listening, why don't you fucking pack it in? It's just fucking pack it in.
It's childish.
It's fucking childish. We're not at war. We're all just trying to fucking get on with our own lives. We're a country, you're a country. We're all just trying to fucking run our economy and make sure everyone's got a job and a roof over their house. Why the fuck are you spending so much fucking time and energy running around trying to fuck with our computer systems? It's fucking stupid. Pack it in. If I was PM or Foreign Secretary, that's what I'd be fucking saying to these cunts.
I mean, I saw a thing on Morning Live on BBC One yesterday morning about loads of people complaining about smart meters, saying they don't work. You know, all the companies are encouraging us to get smart
They're
meters.
spying devices.
And they don't. Well, obviously the Russians and the Chinese are dicking without smart meters.
Because they're the ones controlling all our fucking energy. I tell you what, It's a bit rich from our government. They say all this like, stop spying. Once in a while they go, would the Russians and the Chinese please refrain from spying on us anymore?
Yeah, they grass them up, don't
It's
they?
not on. It's not cricket, right? And I think, hang on, cunts. You privatise energy, right? And then you fucking contracted half of it out to the fucking Chinese and the Russians, right? As far as I understand it, all the fucking gas is coming from Russia down a big pipe, right? First of all, so that's a problem, right? Yeah. And the Chinese
that seemed fine for a while, didn't it?
You are.
That seemed fine for a while.
Seemed fine for a
Let's
fucking
get all our
while.
gas from Russia. What could go wrong?
Yeah. And the Chinese have fucking got all sorts of contracts as well. I was thinking the other day, mate, I read something about like Nissan up in your neck of the woods in Sunderland, right? And the Brexiters have been crowing about how Nissan have said, we've got no problem anymore with Brexit. We said it was going to be a problem, but now we haven't, and we are going to renew our fucking lease here in Sunderland, and we're going to stay here for the foreseeable.
Forever.
Right? And it told the number, I can't remember, the number of people in fucking Sunderland that I swear to God, I thought, fuck me, Andy must be the only cunt in the whole of Sunderland not working for fucking Nissan. It's fucking loads. How many people live in Sunderland? 1 million?
Fucking don't know. No idea. 200,000, something like that.
Fucking hell, mate. Everyone's working. You must feel left out. When they have their Christmas do, you must walk past the window in the rain and press your fucking nose up wishing you were there. Right? Because it's basically you and the lads at Pop Rex are the only ones, and them Polish ones running the pig milk shop. Yeah. Nissan fucking owns Sunderland, and fair play, it's quite good actually because it creates a lot of employment. I'm not knocking them.
I mean,
and the Japanese, we're not worried about them spying, are we?
No, not at the minute.
Nah.
Not at the minute, but it's only a matter of time. I think everybody in Sunderland knows somebody that works at Nissan or one of the part of the supply chain.
Yeah, have you heard much about what the working conditions are like? Is it a nice place to work?
It's all right. Everyone seems to be quite happy for working there. Yeah,
it's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a a prized job to get that. Yeah, but then
my mum's got a Nissan as well, by the way. Just FYI.
She happy with it?
Nissan Micra, they've had it for years. Her and Rod McDonald.
If she's got any problems, just give me a shout. And
Don't
I'll
worry about that. I've told her. I said, listen.
Yeah.
Any problems at all with this Nissan? Andy lives in Sunderland, so I can probably make a call and he can pull some strings for you. If you need any, for instance, if you need any parts, if you need any parts short notice, he can get them down, no problem.
Yeah, no problem at all.
It's the osteopath Rod McDonald. He loves a fucking Nissan Micra. He's had like 3 on the trot,
right?
And he's a big one for which he'll really do his diligence. And for him, it's like, it's a Micra for me. It's a Micra every time. It's
which is spoken.
Reliable, good around town, cheap to run. It's a Micra every time. No, I don't need your flashy business nonsense cars. It's the Micra.
Did you see that lanky little kinky bastard Sunak this morning doing his Rwanda press conference speech?
No, I heard he'd done it. What's he say about it?
Well, he says that Parliament is sovereign and it's time that Parliament started taking decisions that the courts couldn't overturn.
Fuck me.
Which felt a little bit, dictatorish.
That feels a bit Trumpian, and that's putting it mildly.
It felt a bit much. I know. I'm watching it thinking, hang on, is he just saying what I think he's saying? Oh, yeah, he is.
He's going
to do stuff that the courts can't fucking...
It reminds you of that bit of when the Emperor in Revenge of the Sith, he goes, the Senate will never allow it. He goes, I am the Senate.
Yeah.
And then he gets up in that big floating space parliament and he starts fucking shouting the odds, saying, right, enough's enough. I'm in charge now, cunts. Right? And everyone's like, oh, this is a bit weird. He seemed all right before, but now his face is all melted off. So something's happened. He's obviously been in a scrap involving laser swords or something, but he's not explained it. He's suddenly, his face is all gone disabled, and he's up here in Parliament fucking saying that he fucked democracy. He's in charge of everything from now on.
I mean, Sunak's face just seemed like usual. He hadn't been in a fight with anybody, I don't think. But he wasn't limping or anything.
His kinky fucking face.
His little lanky little kinky face.
Bip, 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 kinky face.
Yeah, so he said every single reason ever used in court challenges, including spurious human rights claims, has now been blocked.
Fucking hell, spurious human rights claims. All right, Hitler. Spurious human rights claims.
I mean, obviously he's on his way out in a few months, so
he's going renegade. But, well, mate, listen, he could. This to me. I mean, fucking hell, what's my fucking political analysis worth? Fuck all. But I would say this says that he's not going down without a fight, because this sort of stuff is high stakes stuff. Because if it doesn't work electorally, which is all it is, he's thinking, can I, especially in the current climate with a lot of the sort of divisive protests we've seen on the streets, immigration, I would say, is on the agenda to a greater degree than ever before, because most of us, certainly those of us who live in cities, have not really been worrying much about it. We just think it's a fucking daft thing that weirdos in the fucking provinces shit themselves about. Yeah, in the Shires shit themselves about over the Daily Telegraph, right? Anyone who's lived in fucking cities that are rich in immigrants aren't fucking shitting themselves or bothered about it. But at the moment, actually, it is on a lot more people's radar for reasons we can't be asked going into, but for obvious reasons. It's become on people's radar a bit more. And he's sniffed this as an opportunity. But the thing is, it's high stakes, because if it doesn't work electorally, if he doesn't successfully move this topic onto the agenda and make it, the sort of salient issue in the election next year, then he'll lose. And if he loses, this will genuinely stain his reputation as a statesman, because these guys are prime ministers just for the CV. After that, he's never going to want for money anyway, but he'll want to sit on boards. He'll want to do lucrative speaking gigs around the world. He'll want to, get well-paid jobs at the UN or whatever it is, right? But if you become the guy who lost an election by trying to turn it in to a pretty fucking brutal debate on immigration, right, then you're going to end up looking a fucking cunt unless you win. So he thinks he can win, is he? Well, the thing is, with elections, you can only win if the subject that if the issue that you're strongest on is also the most salient issue. So usually that's the economy, right? And of course, the economy probably is the biggest issue at the next election. But unfortunately, the Tories won't be trusted with the economy again for many, many years to come, right? And Labour look increasingly credible. So they know they're fucked on that. What else could they fight on? What are their traditional strengths? Law and order? Well, that's not going to fucking work. There's no police left, right?
Yeah.
So they think the only thing that we're considered pretty strong on is immigration. But it's not that salient. But if we can make it salient again by banging on about it and causing division, then we might just have a small chance of winning. Maybe. With all those people in the so-called Red Wall seats who voted for Boris Johnson in 2019, right? They might, if you can get them stirred up again, a lot of them were like people who voted for Brexit, get them stirred up again, you never know. He might have a chance. The racism card might work.
Someone said yesterday on Twitter, and I think this is right, the biggest problem the Tories have got now is the people have stopped listening to them.
Yeah.
They're not fucking even interested in anything they've got to say anymore.
Yeah.
It's all over. It's just
yeah. I'm sure you're right, but it's interesting that he thinks that they've got one last fight in them. Because what I'm saying is, if he just accepted they were going out, he'd keep his mouth shut about this. He'd think, what's worth of fucking staining my reputation for the rest of my life by bringing up an issue that's only going to be toxic and we'll lose anyway. He thinks, maybe someone's gone to him, you know what, you could still win this.
Well,
keep going on about Rwanda.
His wife's a billionaire or something, isn't she? So, he's insulated whatever happens.
That's true, but if you or I had a wife who was a billionaire, we wouldn't be bothering ourselves with having to run a country, would we?
No,
so he's obviously, he don't think like normal people, because any right-minded person who had a Doris that minted would be fucking at home watching fucking slow horses all day long, whether they had fucking rabies or not. They'd be there with a packet of... They'd have a fucking tin of Family Choice, right? They'd have a 6 fucking cup pot of tea in front of them just for themselves, right? And they'd have the heating on full whack, because frankly, what's it matter if your wife's that rich? You'd have the heating on full whack. You'd have a lazy boy, and you'd just be like fucking laughing. You'd be literally. If my wife was that rich, I think I'd laugh from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to bed. I'd be laughing, and the only pause would be trying to fucking shove biscuits in my fucking gob between gulps of tea.
We'd probably be down to one episode a week of this as well.
Oh yeah,
because we wouldn't need to do it.
Yeah, I'd just be fucking. Imagine the amount of time you'd spend singing "That's Living All Right." Here she is, home from work again. How was your day, sweetheart? Hey, sorry, I know you've had a hard day, right? And you're probably hungry, but I decided. Takeaway. The Uber Eats is on its way.
Yeah, again.
What do you mean? What do you mean that's the 100th night in a row? Well, I'll put it to your fucking card. Don't worry about that. 100th fucking Uber Eats night in a row. Love it.
Right. Okay, that's enough. Let's do some predictions and fuck off. So I can barely speak again. You ready?
Yeah.
Manchester United versus Bournemouth.
Manchester United, quite good. I'm going to say...
Terrible, apparently, but they're only 3 points behind Man City. I don't understand.
That's amazing, isn't it? I'm going to say 2-1 to Man U.
2-1. I'm going to go 2-0 to Man U. Wolves versus Nottingham Forest. I'll go for 2-0 to the Wolves on that one.
I'm going to say 1-0. Forest got spanked by Fulham last night, didn't they?
Did they?
5-0.
Don't know. Fucking hell. Fulham versus West Ham.
Oh my God.
At the weekend. I know you've got Spurs tonight, haven't you?
Yeah. It's obvious that this game will end 1-0.
I think it will end 2-1 to West Ham. Sunderland versus West Bromwich Albion. Sunderland, of course, managerless. Yeah, again.
Poor Tony Mowbray. He had you playing. I thought he was the new Pep Guardiola at one point.
No, he's I don't know. He spoke out against the regime, and he had to go. He had to die. 1-0 West Brom.
West Brom versus Sunderland. I'm going to go for another 1-0.
Okay, and weekend Spurs versus Newcastle.
Ooh. I think this will be Spurs 0, Newcastle 2.
Fucking hell. I think Spurs will win this 2-1.
By the way, did you see, just quick, did you see Jurgen Klopp having a go at that geezer on Sky Sports last night?
No, I didn't.
He's a right bully, Jurgen Klopp. Look it up. But they're just...
he's a fucker. Yeah.
He's a cunt. You shouldn't do that. To be like, he's one of the night. I can't remember the guy's name, but nice guy. You've been seeing him on Sky Sports for years. Not one of not the main guy, but like a nice guy, good presenter.
Right.
You know, not confrontational. And he's just said, you're playing again on Saturday in your favourite crick-off time, 12:30. Just chuck that in. Young Clark goes, oh yes, very funny. Very funny to make a joke about that. Very good. Yes, you've shown complete disrespect. You have no standards. Why should I have standards? And he would not let it lie. And the geezer handles it really well. Said, obviously, I didn't mean any disrespect. Well, you've already been disrespectful. And it was really awkward. Fucking Jamie Carragher, the phantom gobber, right, has shat it and has just like looked away. He doesn't. Oh no, hang on. It was it wasn't Carragher. It was McManaman, and it was not Sky, was it? It would have been TNT.
It was on Amazon.
It would have been Amazon, right? But you'd still recognise the presenter. And like, McManaman looks away, and fucking Klopp just like completely out of nowhere, fucking steams into this poor bloke. And the bloke stays totally composed, handles it really well. But he won't let up. He absolutely, and he comes out of it looking a fucking cunt.
Oh, he's a cunt, yeah, definitely.
He's a cunt.
Especially when he loses.
What an absolute fucking cunt.
Yeah. All right then. Cunt of interest. Jurgen Klopp.
Jurgen Cunt more like.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Goodbye.
Goodbye.